50 goodest players in NBA history. Now, this is based off Al Horford. As Charles Barkley said, if I average those numbers, I decided to retire. Al Horford is a 5-time All-Star. And I know it always feels like Paul Millsap and Al Horford and Joe Johnson, they're all just kind of lumped in there as goodest players for a long time. Do we have sort of criteria here for being a goodest player of all time, Paulie?
Yeah, there's a number of rules I spent this weekend working on. You can never win a regular season MVP, and you're automatically ineligible for the 50 goodest players list.
Okay.
You can have a finals MVP. That means you could have a couple good weeks of basketball.
Like Andre Iguodala.
Exactly, Dan.
Okay.
Exactly. Andre Iguodala is first team.
He's a goodest player of all time.
You can never average 30 points per game in a season. Even one time you do that, like Dominique Wilkins cannot be on this list. George Gervin cannot be on this list. They're too good.
Okay.
Leading the league in any statistical category is frowned upon for 50 goodest players.
Okay, I like that.
But if except for like turnovers, you cannot have greatness cut short due to injury. So people suggest Grant Hill. No, because he had 5 years of greatness, then more like 8 years of a solid NBA player, and those don't match. You have to be like Mark Grace would make this list for baseball, right?
Okay, yeah.
For example.
Yeah, he was wholly good.
Kevin Johnson, the former Suns guard, he was always a very good player.
Yes,
he's a high-end.
No. Kevin Johnson's dunk on Hakeem brings him out of good into the highlight player.
One play takes you.
He was a highlight player, so you can't be
He was
good.
a highlight player.
He's first ballot 50 goodest players.
No. He's way too.
Wait. How many people are on this first ballot, Paul?
Well, amongst the veteran committee, they vote on it. Like Sam Cassell's on the veterans committee. Horace Grant.
Horace Grant is on. I don't even know if he's good enough to be on the goodest players.
Got a lot of titles. It's kind of like the Steelers when all those guys got in.
Sam Cassell would be on the goodest list. Yes, McLevin.
If you want 6 no-brainers, just read the all-time Atlanta Hawks leading scorers after Dominique. You got Sharif Abdulrahim, Steve Smith, Al Harrington, Joe Johnson, John Drew. I mean, Sharif Abdulrahim was
Abdulrahim.
Was he good?
Sharif don't lie. He was a scorer.
Right.
I just liked him. I made it mandatory. We put him into the highlights when I was doing SportsCenter, just so I could say, Sharif Abdulrahim. But he was with the Grizzlies. Yes, Paul.
Steve Smith is a perfect example. He averaged 20 points exactly twice in his career, that's what you want. And he made one All-Star team. He is
he's a gooder.
He's the logo for 50 goodest players.
He's a gooder.
It's him like a chest pass.
No, he's a gooder. No, he can't be the logo.
Oh.
Somebody else has to be the logo of 50 goodest players of all time.
Like Detlef Schrempf putting a one-hander in?
He's a gooder. Detlef was a gooder. Yes, McLevin.
Matthew Green tweeted in Michael Redd, the former Bucks shooting guard. That's a good one.
I don't know if he was good enough to be on the gooder. Like, didn't Michael Redd score 51 game?
Yeah.
He was flirting with greatness. He had 3 seasons in a row with 23 or more points.
Like Travis Best wasn't good enough to be on the gooder league list. How about Mark Jackson?
Chauncey Billups, 50 goodest players.
Oh, man. I think Chauncey was better than good, but not great.
That's our guy.
Yeah.
That's a gooder.
Yeah.
Sounds like our man.
Yes, McLevin.
Allen Houston, former Knicks.
Oh, yeah, gooder. Yeah, Paul.
And he's in that category of paid like a great player, played like a good player.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. Matt in Texas joins us. Matt, your suggestion?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Dan. First time, long time. 5'8", 185.
Okay.
How about that's awesome. How about Robert Horry?
Robert Horry. Oh, okay. I like that. Thank you, Matt. Matt, you had, 5 rings? Who else would be on the 50 goodest players of all time? Yeah, McLevin.
Got some coming in on Twitter. Dan Marley.
Thunder Dan. He's a gooder.
Terry Cummings, too good?
Oh. Terry had a couple where I think he averaged 24, 25 a game. He might be a little too good.
Here's a good one from Brad Flick on Twitter. Elton Brand. Good enough to be gooder?
Yeah. He played a long time.
That's a big thing because then you get a couple contracts.
How about Joe Smith? Remember Joe Smith, former number 1 pick? I don't know if he was ever good enough to be on the gooder list.
Should being the number 1 pick in the draft DQ you from it? Or shouldn't
you be at least good if you're the number 1 pick in the draft?
Does a generic name like that help you get on the gooder list?
That's why I was thinking Joe Smith. That's like there with Joe Johnson. Like Tom, there's no guy named Tom Generic, but
Eddie Jones. How about that generic name?
Eddie Jones. Man, was Eddie good enough to be on the gooder? How about Michael Cooper? Coop was
he mostly off the bench in his early career?
I think so. Cam in Ohio. Cam, what do you have for me?
Yeah, how you doing? 5'10", 190. My two guys are Brad Daugherty and Mark Price of the Cavs. Very underrated.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that suggestion. Is Price a Hall of Famer? I don't know if... But it's different with Basketball Hall of Fame because I have to factor in what he did at Georgia Tech.
He averaged 15 and 7 in his career, which is exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah. Gosh, he was so much better than that. Man.
4-time All-Star, Mark Price.
Yeah, but he got injured. I think he injured his knee. One of the great shooters of all time. Jesse in Indiana. Hi, Jess. What do you have for me?
Hi. What about Jermaine O'Neal from the Pacers?
All right, Jermaine O'Neal, drafted by Portland as a teenager and then eventually developed with Indiana. Never quite... Is Meta World Peace 50 goodest players of all time? Yes, Paul.
Jermaine O'Neal had a run from age 23 to 29, 6 straight All-Star games. Might be a little too good for our list.
Yeah.
A lot of All-Star games.
Yeah, we have to cap it. There has to be... You can't make more than 5 All-Star teams.
Sean Elliott, former Spur.
Ooh, well, got some titles. Though.
Title. How many titles knock you off the list as well?
I think if you have more than 3 and or more than 5 All-Star appearances, you can't be on the gooder list. Matt in South Carolina. Matt, what do you have for me?
Hey guys.
Hey Matt.
Long time, fifth time. I wanted to say Jason Terry and Sean Marion.
Oh, Jason Terry. Both of those. Jason Terry and Sean Marion.
Terry's a great pick. Long-time service, never known as the best player at his position.
No. The Matrix was pretty good. The Matrix sort of changed that position at forward. Yes, McLovin.
Got a Reggie Theus submission.
Ooh. All right. He looked good. He looked like he would be one of the backup guys in Prince's band. Like he would play an instrument in Prince's in the Revolution. We stumbled upon something. We started the show. It's one thing to come up with the 50 greatest players of all time. We've come up with the 50. We're trying to come up with the 50 goodest players of all time. So this is based off Al Horford. Now,
Okay.
And Paul Millsap, Joe Johnson, Vlade Divac.
But Joe Johnson was an all-star for a few years.
No.
Al Horford is an all-star.
You
could be an all-star, though, right?
You can't make more than 5 all-star teams.
Okay. Fair enough.
Like Nick Van Exel's on the goodest players. John Starks is a goodest player. Michael Finley, a goodest player.
I would put Eddie Jones, former Laker.
Yeah.
Here's one. How about Ricky Pierce?
Ooh.
Back in the day, Ricky Pierce was a bad boy. Detlef Shrimp.
Yep. You had a roster full of guys.
Yeah.
Like you had Dale Davis, Antonio Davis, Rick Von Smits, Detlef Schrempf, Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson could be on that list, yes.
Yeah, so it's really hard to come up with the 50 goodest players of all time.
It is. It's very difficult because these guys were on the fringe of being great, but they were paired with superstars that sometimes their talent got overshadowed. But if you took a poll of locker rooms, Mark Jackson, Detlef, Ricky Pierce, Eddie Jones, Nick Van Exel, those guys were the heartbeats of those teams.
Goodest players. Who were some of the other players that we had? McLovin?
We had Sharif Abdulrahim.
Sharif Abdulrahim.
Rashard Lewis.
Ooh, Rashard Lewis.
Lots of different. Mike Bibby was one.
Is Mike Bibby a goodest player?
Oh, yes. Mike Bibby, Peja on that team. OG Bobby Jackson.
Bobby Jackson.
Bobby Jackson.
Yeah, Paulie.
A lot of these guys are like great, like Jason Terry.
Yeah. Jason Terry, he would be the sixth man. He's not good enough to be a starting five on Goodest. Now, we did have some controversy here because Paulie mentioned Kevin Johnson, and it feels like he was better than being good. So he was a very gooder, not like he's not.
All the gentlemen that we just mentioned up before Kevin Johnson will probably never be in the Hall of Fame. Kevin Johnson should be in the Hall of Fame, and he's been nominated the last 4 or 5 years. So he's on the fringe of being a Hall of Fame player.
Okay.
The other guys we mentioned will not be in the Hall of Fame. Kevin Johnson, at some point in time, will be in the Hall of Fame, so you can't make him a Goodest player.
How about Derrick?
If you're going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Derrick Coleman?
Yes.
Okay. How about?
But he was really good. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Derek Harper? He's not on the Goodest?
Nah. On that team, when he was at his height of that Dallas Maverick teams, what about Mark Aguirre?
We thought Aguirre might be too good because he was really too good early. Like his first 5 years, he's averaging 24, 25 a game. He might be too good.
Okay.
All right.
But he was a great role player on that Pistons team when he was traded to make him a good player along with Joe D, Isaiah, Lambeer, Mahorn.
Yeah. Is Lambeer a Goodest?
Yes, Goodest. Definitely. He might be the starting center on that Goodest.
Well, we were thinking
Absolutely.
Vlade Divac might be our center on the Goodest.
That's a good call. I still may go with Lambeer because of the toughness factor, too. I think I'll roll with Lambeer, though Vlade did more.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.